On Brennan's side, he is up a game here with his 4-color Humans deck. In play, we see 2 Champion of the Parishes and a Noble Hierarch. But they are facing down a difficult board.
Yep. Thought-Knot Seer already outsizing them, and then that Ratchet Bomb on the battlefield is threatening to just sweep Brennan's board away.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and play Kitesail Freebooter. This is a 4 of in his deck. It's an addition from Ixalan. Gets to look at Darrell's hand and take a card out of it. You see Dismember and Batterskull as the options.
And from 20, this is a really nice hand.
Yeah, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Darrell just to Ratchet Bomb on 1, meaning he won't get the card back from under the Freebooter.
And with that much life to play with, it doesn't make a ton of sense to just take the Batterskull, because Darrell's fine just dismembering that Freebooter.
And Brennan's going to go ahead and tap for Thalia's Lieutenant. It's going to double pump here.
This is nice because it makes it so he can attack with both of these champions on this turn instead of just exalting one.
And this 4-color Humans deck is really fast. This is just the 3rd turn of the game for Brennan. And you see he already has 11 power worth of attackers, putting Darrell down to 5. You know, Darrell had turn 3 Tron this game. And it's not clear if it's enough.
Yep. If he had another tower off the top, he'd have enough mana to play it and equip Batterskull. In addition to cracking the Ratchet Bomb, things would be looking pretty good from him from there.
Yeah, well, he does crack Expedition Map to find, if he finds Urza's tower, he would have the mana to do it, right?
Not this turn, because he has to spend 2 mana to crack the map in the first place. It's fully 10 to play and equip Batterskull. Okay. Finds Gavany Town, or
Westvale Abbey.
Westvale Abbey.
Okay. I guess with the 5 mana he hasn't played, that can make a blocker. Blocker seems pretty nice on this board.
Unfortunately, he's facing down the Flying Kitesail Freebooter. He has to do something about that one.
Yeah, you can't actually block that. Use 5 mana, make Batterskull. Crack the Ratchet Bomb on 1. If he can survive this hit, he may just be fine.
Yeah, and Brennan certainly needs more to be lethal this turn, and once that Batterskull starts cracking back, that's a problem.
See if Brennan can produce 1 card, drawing up to 2.
A Path to Exile would be pretty nice for Brennan.
Yeah. Looks like he has a Freebooter and a Thraben Inspector as the last 2 in his hand.
Those ones not great here.
Yeah, and especially if you look at that Batterskull, Darrell might equip it to Thought-Knot Seer, start crashing for swings of 9 points. One of those may even be too much. Here's going to be another Freebooter from Brennan. 2 lands. He'll attack for 2 to put Darrell down to 3. But Darrell's still out of range and about to be much farther out of range after this turn.
Adding these 2 creatures to the battlefield, though, if Brennan's able to peel a Path to Exile, get that blocker out of the way, he has a lot of damage now for the crackback. We'll find out if Darrell equips or not.
Yeah, he may just want to have 2 blockers for the reason you just mentioned.
Yeah, you want to check on the math there, find out exactly where a Path to Exile leaves you. So you'd only be gaining 4 life if you attack with just a 4/4 Batterskull, and yeah, he decides against that.
So he'll move the Batterskull to the Thought-Knot Seer. Now it's a 9/9 Vigilance lifelink.
8/8.
8/8, thank you. Swings in. So Darrell will go up to 11. See if Brennan wants to lose any material to protect his life total, or whether he'll just take the hit down to 7. Looks like Thraben Inspector will jump in front of the Eldrazi.
Yeah, his crackback was shy of lethal there, and the Inspector wasn't adding very much to the battlefield there.
And Darrell says go. Not enough mana yet to make Westvale Abbey. And Brennan, here's Reflector Mage, puts Thought-Knot back in Darrell's hand. Brennan draws a card. That was a great top deck.
Yeah, that was exceptional. And Darrell's probably going to want to pick up his Batterskull and try to reassemble that, but this is going to put him pretty low, and Brennan still has 2 flying creatures.
Yeah, it's 7 damage to put Darrell down to 4.
Does mean that Brennan is a little bit shy of closing the game in the air.
This was the concern, right, of, I guess in Darrell's spot of equipping the Batterskull. Even without the equip, the only play he'd have available was to trade, would be to trade his Thought-Knot, to trade something with the Thalia's Lieutenant, so it's not great. He decides actually against picking up the Batterskull.
The position is not excellent even without equipping, but that was the consideration.
Right. There's only 3 damage in the air right now, so he could stabilize on the ground. But now he's going to main phase pick up the Batterskull, and that feels like it was a missed opportunity.
You miss on the attack this turn, which is the big cost of that.
And he recasts and says, go.
Might have been drawing to something like casting an Ulamog off the top, but bouncing against that, just casting Ulamog probably wins you the game.
Right. 4th land from Brennan. There's an unclaimed territory out of Ixalan. It's the 2nd Cavern of Souls. Here's
Yikes.
Collected Company from Brennan. If this hits Thalia's Lieutenant, it's going to be lethal.
Reflector Mage would be mighty nice.
Yeah, I guess either of those are lethal here, but it just hits Champion of the Parish and nothing else. That's a huge miss for Brennan DeCandio. Yeah, he had a bunch of outs to win there. So now he only has 3 damage in the air. There is still that blocker. Now, the Thalia's Lieutenant's a 5/5, so things aren't horrible.
Yeah, forces the Batterskull to combine with something to actually make a good attack. Darrell would want to attack to gain life one way or the other.
If Brennan swings the team, Darrell has to actually jump in front of the Lieutenant. If he blocks Reflector Mage, he will be dead. He would gain up to 8, but he'd take exactly 8 damage off the other creatures.
That tracks. Doesn't have the mana to activate Abby here, so can't make a second blocker.
Yeah, so his only choice here is to block Thalia's Lieutenant. He'll gain 4, but he takes 5, drops to 3.
And that is exactly how much flying power Brennan has. So
yeah.
Need a big draw for Darrell. Reality Smasher, suit up Batterskull would be really nice.
Yeah, all his dust would be great. More mana. See what he can do with it. I guess he could have I was going to say a big walking ballista, but we might be past that point.
He has a ton of mana.
Yeah.
Theoretically, that could do something, but yeah, there's a lot of power and toughness on Brennan's side.
$8 being tapped. Make that 10. Walking ballista on 5. Okay. But he only has, he has exactly 5 left over, so he can equip the Batterskull. Okay, well, we'll see if this is enough. It's now a 9/9 ballista with lifelink.
Yep. Shooting things with lifelink is pretty good. It's enough counters to take out the flyers if he wants to go that avenue.
He will shoot Champion of the Parish to go to 4. I do like that. He's going to leave it at 8. And this is actually a really interesting bind that Brennan's in. If he just swings the flyers, Darrell will shoot them.
Yep.
But if he swings the ground creatures, Darrell won't shoot anything, and he'll just block the Lieutenant.
Yeah, just has an 8/8 lifelinker there.
Yeah. Can Brennan find a way out? Brennan's trying to hold on for a couple more turns as the Eldrazi Tron deck starts to make larger and larger threats. He'll crack a clue. One of his cards is a land. I think both of them might be.
Those won't do it. The humans deck is extremely linear. It's a pile of humans, Collected Company, small number of non-creature spells, some Path to Exiles.
We mentioned Brennan was swinging for 11 on turn 3. There is some big payoff for being this linear strategy.
Yes.
Remember, yeah, this was a game where Darrell had turn 3 Tron and it has been just really hanging on by a thread.
And it's starting to look like the Batterskull is going to pull it out.
Yeah. So a swing of the flyers from Brennan. Darrell's going to go ahead and shoot them down. Remember, he gains life on each of these activations. He'll get the Dismember back, but he'll be at 7. And then can take 1 in the air, go down to 6.
Gets that Dismember back, and with this active Ballista with Batterskull, he's back in a spot where he could realistically cast it.
Right. Confirm here. Looks like he'll be at 6 at the end of the turn. And does Brennan have a follow-up? Misty Rainforest and a pass. Darrell pretty happy to untap those lands.
And it's really safe to just put a bunch of counters on the Ballista.
He'll start with Thought Knot Series. He sees that Brennan has a land. Now we look at the board here. 11 mana in play for Darrell. That's up to 3 more counters. As long as he makes his land drop. He'll swing first with the Ballista. Counter on.
And with leading on the Thought-Knot Seer here, you know that you're not going to get pathed here.
Right. Darrell's going to gain 6 more. He goes to 12, makes Matter Reshaper, and passes. I actually like this from Darrell. Rather than just loading counters on the Ballista, he's making more blockers. You see Brennan actually drawing a Fiend Hunter this turn. The way Darrell's played this, really nice.
With multiple creatures, even removing the Ballista, Darrell still got plenty going on. And once you have this big hammer, and it's pretty clear how you can inevitably close the game, just playing conservatively here, making sure nothing goes wrong. A lot to like about this line.
Fiend Hunter from Brennan will pump the Thalia's Lieutenant. And you want to be careful with this Dismember and how you time it with Fiend Hunter. This is not Banisher Priest. So you need to let the creature get exiled first, and then otherwise you'll never get him back.
I was thinking about dismembering the Lieutenant there.
Okay. That one would be fine. So Fiend Hunter takes Thought-Knot Seer. Brennan gets a card. I believe he picked up the Collected Company, but does not have the mana to cast it. And the Freebooter swings in for 1.
And with that Dismember, or even with the Walking Ballista, Darrell could kill the Fiend Hunter and use the Thought-Knot Seer to hit the Collected Company before Brennan's ever able to cast it.
And looks like Darrell's going for that Dismember on end step. He'll go down to 7. And he's going to use that in conjunction with Walking Ballista to get Champion of the Parish. Gains life back up to 8.
It's a large blocker.
Sure. If he continues just to remove the largest creature from the board, that seems like a very solid way to play.
Yeah, now Brennan just has a bunch of... He's got a 2-3, a 1-2, and a 1-3. Not very threatening.
Yeah, and so much mana in play here for Darrell. He's got 3 towers and 3 more Tron pieces. So 15, looks like 16 mana available. It's 4 counters each turn if he wants.
Yeah, just has to ride this Batterskull to victory from here.
And Brennan counting up too. Yeah, 15, 16, 17. We've seen some remarkably large Walking Ballistas already today.
It is a very powerful card. It was kind of a sleeper when it first came out.
Yeah.
That didn't last long.
Well, I didn't necessarily think that we'd be seeing multiple Modern decks cast it, you know, with 10 counters. Thalia's Lieutenant, the play from DeCandio. He's trying to hang on here, though with 15 minutes left in the round, I'm interested to see how much longer Brennan's going to try to steal this one. Dismember on the Freebooter.
Yeah. Brennan's deck, when it wins, usually at a pretty fast clip. Possibly just trying to see if he could get his eyes on another sideboard card if Darrell, for some reason, plays one.
And Darrell's going to make a counter. In response, Brennan casts Collected Company.
Brennan also just generally not one to concede.
Meddling Mage looks like it's coming out of the sideboard, along with Zathrid Necromancer. So these are some interesting ones here. Zathrid Necromancer, when a human dies, Brennan gets a zombie. It's a Rotlung Reanimator, if you're going to get really old. Meddling Mage, he gets to name a card, and Darrell can no longer cast that card.
Brennan also couldn't cast the card, to be fair.
Right. He named all as dust. And the problem here is that Darrell just gets all these counters on the Walking Ballista. If this is a problem, then Darrell still can take care of it.
Yeah, shoot down the Necromancer, shoot down the zombie it makes, shoot down everybody else.
I think they're right now talking with the judge about a timing issue, where exactly they are.
Kind of amusing seeing Meddling Mage show up here, and all his dust largely the reason. Brennan's deck is trying to just get on the battlefield with a lot of creatures that have colored mana and their mana cost.
Sure.
You can really get wrecked by all his dust with this strategy. Any kind of all-in linear deck, that's kind of Eldrazi-Tron's big draw.
Yeah, I mean, 4-color humans can't... It's not an aggro deck that can play conservatively around mass removal. All of its cards really ask you to play more copies. You know, your Champion of the Parish is only good if you play your whole hand out.
Yeah, and Kitesail Freebooter is a nice upgrade. If it's in hand, you know, you can find all his dust with that one, but Meddling Mage covers it off of the top of the deck, which is really the strength of that card.
All right, well, we are going to be back in the booth here as we deal with a judge call. Right now, it looks like they're going to be heading to a third game between the two as Walking Ballista has stabilized the Eldrazi-Tron player. But what I want to talk about is Brennan DeCandio's Humans deck. So it's a 4-color deck. Well, I think I'd seen some banned humans previously. Brennan has splashed into black for Kitesail Freebooter as a 4 of in the deck.
Yep, unclaimed territory, really what makes it possible. The mana was a little bit rough before. He couldn't do four colors. Freebooter, he was saying, is the card that's really enticing here. You see some lists like this, that main deck, Zithrid Necromancer. Brennan has 1 copy in his sideboard. He says it's fine, but Freebooter is the big upgrade. Yeah,
he has 4 Cavern of Souls and 4 unclaimed territory, so he has very excellent mana for casting humans, which are all the creatures. The casting spells can be a little difficult. The only spells in the deck, though, Path to Exile and Collected Company.
Yep, notably Noble Hierarch casts both of those spells.
Right, and that one is a human as well, so he can do that. Otherwise, you're looking at it, so for 1-ups, you have 4 Champion of the Parish, 3 Avacyn's Pilgrim, 4 Noble Hierarch, 2 Thraben Inspector. For 2s, he has Thali's Lieutenant and Mayor of Avabrook, and the Kitesail Freebooters. Top of the curve, we have Thalias and Reflector Mages.
A little interested in the Mayor of Avabrook Thraben Inspector split. Obviously,
yeah, 2
the cards
of each.
Serve very different roles. I like Thraben Inspector in these draws that are putting counters on other humans. It's a way to redraw as well. Mayor is really nice in your wide boards. I don't know if there's really matchups where you're trying to just Mayor and flip it. I think even against the control decks.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever want to flip it.
In particular with the Freebooter, I think you're just jamming a lot. You can just peel the sweepers out of their hands. So.
Okay. Well, we are going to go ahead and bring back to the match. Here, Zithrid Necromancer being shot down. Brennan's going to get a zombie. Looks like there was a sleeve check on Darrell Lane. He's playing some double-faced cards. Ruling was the cards are fine. And Darrell's going to continue to attack. Mentioned 4 activations at the ready. Brennan will block. So as for clock management on Brennan's side, you're thinking there's some advantage to him running the clock down to about 8 minutes before if he can chump block for another 5 minutes, that might be advantaged for him.
Yeah, and you saw here, Brennan was on the draw. He got out some early aggression. Darrell turned the corner, and now we're playing a very long game. On the play, Brennan is just trying to really hammer home that early advantage and win the game on turn 4.
Yeah, so with an 8-minute game 3, it's really advantageous to Brennan. He can still win in that time where his opponent may not be able to.
Yep.
And you see Darrell, he has sped up as well. Recognizing the strategy, he's going to respond and throws all the counters on Walking Ballista, draws. And yeah, he has stepped on the gas as well.
And the more you play against somebody, the longer the match is, the more you pick up on their play patterns as well. That can be an advantage if you're pretty confident that the match is going to play to a conclusion anyway.
Yeah, 3 more counters on each of those lands right now, tapping for 2. So he's up to a 9 Ballista, making it a 13 with that Batterskull, and he'll swing. All right, we're going to go to the next game. Doesn't even have to attack, can just throw all of it upstairs.
Yep.
Good close by Darrell, recognizing that he needed to win the game quickly. We're on to game 3.
Out of DeCandio's list, I do really like the 1-2 punch that you have going with Kitesail Freebooter, Meddling Mage. If you get to turn 2 Freebooter, then you can just Meddling Mage some other card that you left in their hand. That can be really nice. Yeah,
that's going to... The ability to look at their hand and then Meddling Mage something is really nice. I do want to look at some of these cards on Brennan's sideboard. So we've seen the one of Fiend Hunter, the one of Zithrid Necromancer, 2 Meddling Mages. He also has 2 copies of Stony Silence, which I'd be really excited to find in this matchup.
Yeah, turns off Expedition Map. We saw a Ratchet Bomb there. We saw a Walking Ballista. We saw a Batterskull. You know, there's a lot of good hits.
In particular, Walking Ballista, outside of the 2 ways I see Darrell stabilizing, because Brennan's going to play creatures, they're going to go wide, and they're going to have large toughness. Look to be Walking Ballista and All is Dust.
Yep. So with these Meddling Mages, with the Freebooters, you try to cut cover all his dust, and then the Stony Silence can turn off a lot of what's left over.
Yeah, cards like Reality Smasher actually don't play as well in this matchup, I would think.
Yeah, we saw Brennan with multiple creatures that were at least 5/5s there. That make that one a little bit awkward.
Yeah, out of the sideboard, Darrell Lane, 2 copies of Ratchet Bomb. We saw those, at least one of those in play that game. And players are just going to go ahead and get started, both keeping on 7. It's turn 1 Thraben Inspector for Brennan. For Darrell, Urza's Mine into Expedition Map. And you see they are aware of the clock here.
And there is Stony Silence in Brennan's hand, but he's going for Noble Hierarch instead. He's trying to apply the pressure here.
Yeah, well, actually, he can't cast it yet until he gets the white mana off Noble Hierarch.
Sure. Yeah, Unclaimed Territory was the second land.
You see it, turn 3 Tron set up here for Darrell. He's got 2 Tron pieces and that Expedition Map.
And DeCandio's third land is Gavany Township. He's also playing a colorless deck.
Yeah, 2 Stony Silences, Path to Exile, and it looks like a green card. He'll crack the Clue. Draws into Champion of the Parish. All right, that one plays just fine.
And this is now not a great window for the Stony Silence because the map mana is just up.
Cast Stony. So you see what Brennan actually had to do there is he had to make sure he cracked his Clue before playing Stony Silence.
Little tension there.
Yeah, you know, Clue's actually an artifact, so I will admit, until Brennan made that play, I didn't see it. I would have definitely jammed the Stony Silence and then been like, huh, I'm horrible, and then I would have looked at my own cards.
And the Stony Silence didn't check the map there, but it could limit the power of a Ballista on the following turn, which is why you want to get that out there.
Thought Not Seer from Darrell immediately takes that Path to Exile.
Ooh, and DeCandio drew both Stony Silence. That one's not going to play here.
Looks like Shaper's Sanctuary is the last card here in Brennan's hand. He'll cast that. He has Shaper's Sanctuary, he has Champion of the Parish, and Stony Silence. So Shaper's Sanctuary would be very good against a walking Ballista.
Not great here, though.
No, Thalia's Lieutenant, though, will pump Brennan's board. That was his draw, and a big draw indeed. So Brennan has that Walking Ballista covered in a number of ways.
Though as more lands enter the battlefield, Darrell already has Tron. The Walking Ballista can just be really big on the way down.
Here's Wormcoil Engine.
Speaking of really big on the way down.
Yeah, Darrell setting up shop here is making a good board worth of blockers. Now, eventually, because of the 4-color Humans deck, I would think that Brennan's going to outscale Darrell's blockers. And see, he casts Meddling Mage.
Wormcoil Engine is kind of a really good equalizer against an opponent that's just trying to make a larger creature. The combination of Death Touch and Lifelink makes things really tough.
Brennan's going to name All Is Dust. So, Ryan, with Stony Silence covering Ballista and Meddling Mage covering All Is Dust, how does Darrell clean up this board?
So you see some larger cards in a lot of these lists. There's 2 Karn Liberateds at the top of the curve.
Sure.
A couple Endbringers that can do some work. Just draw some extra cards with that one over time.
Yeah, here is Endbringer from Darrell.
1 copy of Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. That would do a lot of work here.
Endbringer joined by Mattery Shaper. So we're going to look to see whether or not Endbringer can do some work. You're right, though. Darrell can draw a ton of cards with it. Should be able to use that twice a turn. And Brennan starts going to work with Gavany Township. So Darrell's going to have to race that.
Yeah, Fortuitous Plains to combine with a Noble Hierarch.
Well, I think Darrell would want to set up All His Dust with a way to remove the Meddling Mage. But this isn't easy.
Just got a window here where Dismember will do it.
Yeah, you see him draw a card main phase with Endbringer. He'll probably draw a card on Brennan's end step as well. So 3 cards a turn for Darrell.
Yep. No real reason to make it so something can't attack or block. We're not there yet. He has really good blockers to cover Brennan's battlefield for the foreseeable future, or the immediate future, rather.
Yeah, so he's continuing to draw cards while Brennan uses Township every turn. Walking Ballista drawn from Darrell. That doesn't do anything, though. 2 Stony Silences in play.
Yep.
He'll cast it.
It's large. Ish.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. He lost 2 cards by making that play, right? He could have been drawing more cards with Endbringer. It really depends on what he's drawing to.
And he has 1 more activation here before that Meddling Mage starts to get out of Dismember Rage. The activation here would make it a 5/5, but the next one makes it a 6/6, and that makes Darrell's out slimmer.
Right. Well, I mean, his other ways to deal with creatures, Ratchet Bomb, that doesn't work because of Stony Silence. Ulamog, I guess, would be the big one.
Yep. Though once that Meddling Mage gets out of Dismember range, then we're seeing Brennan just having just obscenely large creatures. If he can produce a Path to Exile for the Wormcoil engine, that makes his attacks pretty easy.
Reflector Mage bounces Thought Not Seer. Brennan draws a card. I believe his last card's Thalia's Lieutenant. Oh my. Yeah, he'll make Thalia's Lieutenant.
It doesn't even lose pace on those Township activations because this is just the same thing.
Yeah, everything gets another counter. Yeah, you mentioned one more turn on that possibility of a Dismember on the Meddling Mage. What Darrell would like to have is a Dismember and followed up with an All Is Dust.
I suppose the Endbringer makes that window a little bit longer because you can shoot the Meddling Mage for 1.
Okay, yeah, he has one more turn on it. He'll draw a card. Full grip in hand here for Darrell. Got something for a lot of mana. Got a...
I think it's Hangerback
Walker. Yeah, Hangerback Walker on 3. It looks like the Invention. Or the Masterpiece, I believe.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, Masterpiece, subcategory Invention.
Okay. Can't put counters on it. You saw I draw another card end step there with the Endbringer. And there's the Dismember, and it might have happened just in time.
Yeah. Meddling Mage currently a 5/5. Brennan goes for that activation, Dismember in response, or you can even force the activation and then Endbringer.
So Dismembers the Meddling Mage. It is a 5/5, so Brennan can Township in response, but the Endbringer can finish it off. And I see why Darrell would want to make this play main phase. If he has the All Is Dust already in his hand, this is just great for him.
I mean, he has to have lethal. He has 100 power on his side of the battlefield.
So Brennan first of all gets to draw a card off Shaper's Sanctuary.
Sure. See him cracking a fetch in response. Not a ton of outs here.
Just under 4 minutes remaining in the round. Yeah, Dismember's still on the stack.
If Brennan, well, he can't really get out of the Endbringer finishing it off. If you activate the Township, that's something. You could collect a company and find some lieutenants, but that's just the same as activating the Township.
Well, if he finds 2 lieutenants,
sure,
right?
That would do it.
And he's going to try. It's not great, but it could work.
If collect a company is a card in your hand, you know.
And that's what he'll do.
Especially if Darrell just has the All Is Dust right now, Brennan is priced into this line, otherwise he just loses. Second, Meddling Mage also naming All Is Dust is also something
Did he find 2 Mayor of Avabrooks? No, he whiffed. He got nothing?
Wow.
He got nothing.
All right, so here's the check for that All Is Dust.
There's the Shaper's Sanctuary. Meddling Mage is dead. Does Darrell have All His Dust?
Big tap.
Oh, he's tapping like he has one. And there it is. Brennan extends the hand. Is going to be Darrell Lane. The Eldrazi rule the day, and 2-1. He is your winner.